This tutorial would be for scheduling a general writer trip. The first thing you need to do is decide if you're going to do a general writer trip, what is the trip going to be for? Is it going to be for a grocery store trip with 20 people, a trip to a football game for 50 people? So the first thing you'd want to do is actually make a client, and you'd want to name it the name of whatever your trip name would be. So let's decide our trip name is going to be football game. So I would, as first name, you would type in game, and you would do the second name as football, and you really wouldn't need to fill in any more information than that unless you did want to type in, let's say, the address of where the football game was going to be. But you can just put football game, and when we hit save a new client, it will be first name is game, last name football. So we're going to save this client. We'd look it up, and we can look it up here under the F's, and it will come up as game football. So then the next thing you'd want to do is go to trips, and what we want to do is find football game, and just by typing it in there, we come down and we can select football game or game football. Now you can tell it where we want to actually schedule this trip. So we would say the location name will be picking up at, let's say, the school. And 1, 2, 3, we're just gonna make up a address. And where are we going to take them to? The name would be football game, and we're going to go to 500 West Main Street. Whoops, come back here. And let's say we're going to go to Janesville. And then you can come over here and decide how you're going to bill it, what program type it is, who's going to pay for this football game, what day your football game's to be on. So let's pick Saturday, October 22nd. The time we're going to pick these people up, and the time we're going to drop them off. And let's say we're going to pick them up at 8 in the morning. So you would type 8 a.m. Now you would come over to this selection, and you would say, I'm going to select the general writer. From the general writer, you would again pick the day you want the trip for. We're going to pick the people up at 8 o'clock, and here is where you choose how many people are actually writing. And let's just say, we're using the up arrow, that you're going to be taking 20 people to our football game. At this point, you can decide by looking at the available vehicles, which vehicle would be available, and let's say we're going to put them on the bus. Oh, there's max riders of 6. Oh, we're going to put them on this, and because there's only 12 people available for that particular van, we're going to make our general riders 12. Now we can also at this point create the round trip and create the trip home, and let's do that. So we're going to say we picked them up at 8. We're going to be bringing them home at 5 p.m. And now it will create 12 riders on van 3 for that. The max riders for that van is 12. We're going to pick them up at 8 o'clock and return them at 5 o'clock. When you hit create general rider trip, it will say, are you sure you want to create these on this day at this time? And you would go yes. And if you wait just a moment, it will add those trips, and it did 12 general trips on that vehicle. So if you look now for the 22nd, we're actually picking up the trip at 8 o'clock. We're returning them. Oh, here we're picking them up at 8, and we've got actually 12 people at 8 and 12 people at 5. So it actually lists how many people. They're unknown people, but it does count the trips. So we've got 12 trips at 8 o'clock and 12 trips at 5 o'clock, all listing the football game. So then if you went to October 22nd on our schedule, you'd actually pick October 22nd here, hit get the schedule. It will be retrieving all of those trips. Now you can see on van 3, you've got all unknown people, but certainly we've got people, and we've got 12 picking up at 8 o'clock and 12 bringing home at 5 p.m. So that's how you would load a general rider trip. Just in summary, for a general rider trip, you would actually create a client with the name of whatever that trip is. Again, a grocery store trip, a trip to the library, a trip to the football game, and you actually create a client with that trip name. Then you would want to go to the trips tab, fill in where you want to pick them up, where you want to drop them off, the date, the time, and then you would use the general rider button. In the general rider button, you would choose how many people are on that particular trip, whether or not you wanted to make it a round trip or not. Then once you hit the save button, it will save that trip. And again, if we wanted to look back again at game, football, we can look back again, and here we do have all of those trips scheduled. So thank you for your time, and I hope your general rider trips goes well.